Ms. Clevenger? Here. Mr. Lemuel?
Here.
Mr. Strupp?
Here.
Okay, all the board members are present. That means we also have a quorum, of course. For any action we take, we need at least 3 out of the 5 board members to vote in favor of any motion that is made at the meeting. With that, the next item of business is the minutes from the August 23rd, 2022 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve those?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. We'll go ahead and call the roll to approve the minutes.
Mr. Strupp?
Yes.
Mr. Lemuel?
Yes.
Ms. Clevenger?
Yes.
Mr. Zollinger? Ms.
Yes.
Boyden?
Yes.
Okay, the minutes are approved. Now we'll move to the next item of the agenda, which is the appeal portion. I'll go ahead. Let's start by just having that read off into the record.
Application number 22 NC ZBOA -0005, Christopher Swing Esquire, 1474 North Main Street, North Canton, Ohio 44720. An appeal from August 3rd, 2022 Planning Commission preliminary and final approval of General Development Plan 22 NCPC -0008.
Chairman, if I may.
Yes.
We have received a second appeal for the conditional use permit on the same project. It appears to be duplicative in nature in regards to the evidence and witnesses. We would like to make sure that we review the record in full and we allow any of those who wish to be heard an opportunity to be heard. With that in mind, staff recommends to schedule this appeal for a future date for a special meeting, so both items can be heard.
Okay. With that, I guess I would entertain a motion to continue this hearing with the idea of it being, this issue being presented at the same time as the hearing on the conditional use issue.
Correct.
All right, so I would entertain a motion in that regard.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, what I'd like to do then, I know that the parties for this matter are represented by counsel, so I would like to hear from briefly the position of counsel on the issue of a continuance. We have the court reporter taking down everything just like what was done at Planning Commission, so I would like to just have a brief position of the appellant on this issue. And you go ahead and state your name and for the record too, please.
May it please the board, ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Chris Swing, I'm here on behalf of Albrecht Incorporated and Acme Fresh Market. That's 1474 North Main Street, North Canton, Ohio. Certainly, the board will do what the board will do in terms of continuing this, but I appreciate the opportunity to state our objection on the record to it. We think that there are different legal standards that apply to those issues. That is the approval of development plan, both preliminary and final development of the development plan, and also the approval of the conditional use permit for the accessory gas station. We think there are different legal standards, different issues, different provisions of the zoning code that apply, different facts that support those, and frankly, it's council's opinion that there are different records that relate to each. To the extent that we're attempting to supplant or to supplement rather, or to add to the record of August 3rd when that decision was made with respect to the development plan, I'd respectfully submit that everything after that wasn't considered by the Planning Commission that evening. So I'll be brief. I appreciate the chance to speak to you. I appreciate your service to the community, and we just want to state our objection for the record.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Counsel for the appellee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This is really not an, Majid Makhlouf, I represent the city of North Canton in this appeal, and I know Menard was planning to be here, and then when the idea of the continuance happened, they went back to Michigan, but I know they have the same position as we consent. I don't know that this is, it makes sense. It seems to make a ton of sense. The board makes whatever decision the board makes. Fully agree that there are different cases, but that doesn't mean that they can't be heard on the same day. But we would also maintain that, even when they're heard on the same day, they have to be separate votes, separate conclusions of facts, separate, but that doesn't mean that for the convenience of the witnesses that they can't, you put the witness on the stand once, you go through that witness. The board is sophisticated enough to understand the different items on which they're voting, and they can make that distinction, and the criteria will be before the board for each matter, and they would vote on it. It would have, when the idea came to us, we consented to it, because quite frankly, it would have made no, we would have had the witnesses here today, have them go through the testimony, and then we have to stop them again. And, when the next meeting happens, and then repeat, even if the criteria are different, they're related. Yes, the planning commission voted on them separately, they're separate appeals before you, but it doesn't mean that you can't have efficiency in how things proceed and lower the burden on witnesses and things of that nature. So from our perspective, we consent. The only request that we would have of the board is obviously time is of the essence on these things, of just pushing it to the next regularly scheduled meeting. And so it would make sense to if there's a possibility to have a special meeting to go through those, we very much appreciate and cooperate with the board with whatever you wish.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, my thinking is let's have the hearing where we address all the issues at once. We also make sure we give ourselves enough time that both parties have a chance to make as complete a record as they need to. That we make sure that whatever action we take, that we address each issue separately enough so that whatever different standards apply, we make sure that the board considers all of them separately, and that we just do it the right way. And when we reschedule, with appropriate notice that we need to make legally, I would be okay with a special meeting. I would also be okay with an earlier time, just to make sure everybody has time to do everything they need to do at the hearing, if we can make that work with everyone's schedule. So we'll deal with that when the time comes, but with all that in mind, I'd be in favor of granting this motion. And I'd go ahead, and I don't know if anybody else has any thoughts they want to express before we vote. Does anybody have anything? Okay, so with that, we'll call the roll on the continuance motion.
Ms. Boykin?
Yes.
Mr. Streb?
Yes.
Mr. Lemuel?
Yes.
Ms. Clevenger?
Yes.
Mr. Zollinger?
Yes. Okay, so this issue is going to be continued, and hopefully we can get this meeting scheduled as soon as possible, and at a time convenient for everybody. With that, is there any other business to come before the board this evening? And if there isn't, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, and we'll just go ahead with the voice vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?